All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reiterate what we talked about. We had our WWE SmackDown review, our WWE King and Queen of the Ring review as well. And we're going to keep this review going on. We have our AEW Double or Nothing review. It was a great pay-per-view, but before I move on any forward, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Give me your questions. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Let's just have a nice little, wrestling conversations. Definitely 110%. So let's make this happen. Let's make this happen. So let's go ahead and move on to our AEW's Double or Nothing, you know, pay-per-view. It was really good. It was very good. It was very impressive. I loved it from head to toe. So yeah, let's get started. So Las Vegas, Nevada, MGM Grand was basically the setting of this place. It was the 5-year anniversary of AEW. It's kind of like their unofficial first pay-per-view. We started off with Will Ospreay against Roderick Strong. Will Ospreay proved why he's an amazing superstar. Defeated Roderick Strong, even with the help of the Undisputed Kingdom. Ospreay had the chance. Don Callis was forcing him to try to use the Tiger Driver, but Will Ospreay was like, I can win without him, man, and he did. He's the new AEW International Champion. Very impressed by Will Ospreay. I definitely love watching him wrestle. So yeah. Next we have Dr. Martha Hart. Obviously, she's the widow of Owen Hart. Tony Khan make their announcement about how the Owen Hart Cup will now introduce the women's and the men's winners will get title shots at Wembley Stadium in All In. So, in the semifinals, I think the semifinals and the finals will take place in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, the hometown of Owen Hart. Love this 110%. A lot of people, the moment I saw this, I was like, okay, kind of like that Paul Levesque and the King of the Ring kind of announcement. But he said that they were talking about this, they were sitting down talking on Christmas Eve. But I feel like, sometimes you just kind of add that in there to kind of be like, okay, so you're not copying Triple H. But that's something that a lot of people do not understand, that I don't think I don't think Tony Khan gives a shit. I don't think, excuse my language, but I don't think he cares. A lot of people are throwing shit at him, like, dude, you're doing what WWE does. WWE has been along and has been a giant in terms of professional wrestling entertainment for years, absolute years. So if somebody does something that does not mimic the WWE, why is it such a big deal? Why does it matter? Tony Khan is trying his best to kind of survive in the wrestling world, and definitely after this pay per view, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Ultimately, Vince McMahon kind of stepping down from the WWE kind of saved WWE in a way. So I thought that was kind of crazy. And then you saw MJF make his return. MJF is back with All Elite Wrestling. Thank God. And this is big. This is big. The moment I saw him and the way he riled up the crowd and the way that he came out just guns blazing, absolutely throwing smoke at the crowd. He even mentioned Vince McMahon. And he's someone you can build the company around. You can bet that he's going to definitely go after, AEW World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland. But I really like this. I really like MJF kind of come back into the fray. Definitely good news for them. Sorry. Definitely good news for them. Good news for AEW. Love it. MJF is going to do wonders with All Elite. And then you saw Death Triangle against the Bang Bang Gang. One thing that I kind of got from this match was very, it was back and forth. And at one point, I had the thought that the Death Triangle was actually doing pretty darn good. They're doing really good, but there's one thing. There's one thing that kind of separates the Bang Bang Gang away from any trios, tag team champion in Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling, and AEW. It's Switchblade Jay White. Switchblade Jay White is absolutely one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. He could probably make a run for a heavyweight championship for Ring of Honor. Also could probably make a, kind of make a stab, kind of make a nice little, he could be. I don't think he can fight. I don't know. It'd be a good match between him and Swerve. I don't think he's quite ready just yet. But Switchblade Jay White is probably one of the best wrestlers on the AEW roster. Definitely top five. Top five. Definitely top three. Top three. Honestly, definitely, my next podcast, I will give you the top 10 AEW wrestlers, and I promise he will be top three. Moving on, we had the AEW Women's Championship match between Toni Storm and Serena Deeb. It was a good match, but ultimately and still AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm progresses because Toni Storm is just so good. She's just so damn good. She's just so she she's technical. She can hit submissions. Definitely, you're kind of your Swiss Army knife of women's wrestling, kind of right here. Definitely love that Toni Storm, retained her title. I honestly didn't give Serena Deeb enough credit that I thought. She put on a damn good match. So good for Serena Deeb. That's good for her career overall. Even better for, and still, the AEW Women's Champion. Next, you saw Orange Cassidy against Trent Beretta. Orange Cassidy was able to, freshly squeezed, was able to defeat his former best friend, Trent. I absolutely love that because I love Orange Cassidy. Then you saw the FTW Championship match between Hook, Shibata, and Jericho. It was a physical bout. It was a very physical bout. Something that kind of scared me was you saw that botched Death Valley driver that was supposed to land on Jericho on the table. It didn't really do that. And it was obviously, and then you saw Big Bill save Chris Jericho, and you saw once again a double submission, and then kind of like creating that kind of Vietnam, kind of like that flashback of like entirety of crap. Then you saw Brian Keith, the bounty hunter, frustrated with the way the match ended, ultimately had to help Jericho pick up the win here. So and still the FTW World Champion Chris Jericho, the Learning Tree Chris Jericho. You saw the IWGP Eliminator John Moxley against Konosuke Takeshita. It was a good match. I loved it 1,010%. I love John Moxley in any kind of match he fights. So definitely has some good, skills right there. John Moxley was clearly hurt 110%. You kind of saw him come out. And although like they put bandages and be like, okay, yeah, kayfabe, we won, this guy was hurt. Like if you did not notice that, watching from a wrestling perspective, you're not a true wrestling fan, man. Like these guys, although they do have bandages wrapped up on certain body parts, doesn't necessarily mean it's all BS. It just means that, like, yeah, dude, it's actually hurt. So, don't get crazy about it. So I loved seeing John Moxley go out there. He was able to defeat Takeshita. Overall, it was a great match. I would love to see these two fight again for the IWGP Championship. Then you saw a steel cage match, barbed wire, with Edge coming out from the Brood, looking absolutely ruthless against Malachi Black, House of Black. Something that I picked up from this match was Gangrel came back. Loved Gangrel. Loved how he was a huge, excuse me, a huge like kind of player in terms of how Edge he was brought up. He was brought up by the Brood with him, Edge and Christian within the WWF Attitude Era. So I thought that was pretty badass. Gangrel helping, kicking out Brody King, attacking Buddy Matthews, and just kind of making the odds a little even there. I love the kind of the hug and the embrace at the end. Thought that was badass. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Now we have the AEW TBS match between Willow Nightingale against Mercedes Moné. Moné was very emotional in the first match back in terms of wrestling on the AEW spectrum. Trash talking from the beginning. Chris Statlander and Stokely ultimately screwed Willow in the middle of the match. A lot of people, I didn't really think too much of it. I was like, dude, you were trying to help. You messed it up, dude. You messed it up. Willow had it. Willow had a chance at doing that, and you kind of saw, Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné kind of having Willow in that crossface, refusing to break the hold, kind of showing that she's more than willing to kind of be this heel. She's more than willing to be the heel in the women's division in AEW. Because like I said before, the AEW World Women's Champion Toni Storm, she's not necessarily a heel. I don't believe that at all, 110%. And Willow was never a heel. Probably one of the best baby faces in the world. Mariah May, ultimately doing what Toni Storm's doing. You have Thunder Rosa. She's not really a heel. So you kind of need someone to fill in that role there. And obviously now you kind of have, people wondering why Statlander betrayed her friend Willow of Nightingale. It'll be addressed on AEW Dynamite happening on Wednesday. So can't wait to find out. Mercedes Moné picks up the victory. We have our new AEW TBS champion, and the crowd hated it. I hated it. I think it was terrible. I thought it was one of the most terrible decisions that AEW kind of made. But Tony Khan, and if you're in Tony Khan's shoes, you're paying a lot of money for this girl. So you're going to, kind of give her the world, so to speak. Next is the AEW World Championship match. Definitely what I thought it was going to be. It was slow and steady, kind of playing the Christian's kind of edge here. Swerve Strickland was trying to break down Christian Cage. Patriarchy was highly involved, but finally kicked out. Swerve kicked out from a kill switch. Swerve stomp from from the announce table was pretty bad. There was a lot of like a couple of stomps that were made in this fight. I kind of thought to myself, I was like, damn, how is Christian still breathing right now? Poor guy. And of course, he had the house call, and still AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland moves on. And the cool thing, you kind of saw Floyd Mayweather come out and support his boy. So I thought that was pretty close. It's pretty cool, not close. And finally, we had the Anarchy in the arena match between Team AEW and the Elite. This match was absolutely off the hook. It was absolutely crazy. Nothing that I've ever seen before. Something that you would see in a movie, something that you would see. I think this topped any match you've kind of seen within the WWF Attitude Era. And I know I'm with you guys. I'm a WWF Attitude Era kind of guy. Definitely love this. Definitely loved how, Jack Perry was lit on fire. I don't want to sound, kind of dark here. And they saw Darby Allin, lifted up. He was hit by a bus and it just blood. You saw the guys Reeboks stay super kicked. It was bad. It was bad. There was blood everywhere. It was absolute bedlam. Bryan Danielson was trying to do his best to, try to defeat, but I gotta say, probably the MVP in this matchup was definitely Kazuke Okada because he definitely broke up a lot of pinfalls. It seemed like every single time someone was like, 1, 2, broken up by Okada. Like he was definitely the MVP, and then out of nowhere you saw Jack Perry come back from being lit on fire. This guy was like he felt like he was ripped, lifted up from the depths of hell with his pants absolutely inflamed, and he came out. He did what he had to do. He defeated Bryan Danielson for the Anarchy in Arena, going to, and I need to say, it's sad to say, the Elite, the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, with Jack Perry and Kazuchika Okada, the AEW Continental Champion. So, it was an amazing pay-per-view. It was great. Definitely, if you have a chance to check it out, check it out. And yeah, so let's go ahead and move on. Rapidly running out of time, like I always am. Kind of crazy. Next, we have our WWE Monday Night Raw preview. We'll try to keep this under, 6 minutes. So yeah, let's dig on into it.